Welcome to the Women Living Well After 50 podcast. I'm Sue Carrick, and I'm passionate about inspiring, motivating, supporting and informing women over 50 to embrace this exciting time of life. Health and wellness in mind, body and spirit are the foundations for living well, but there is so much more to a life well lived. Each week, through conversations with my guests, I'll be presenting topics that will help us all to live well and enjoy life. So join me as we discover new ways to become women living well after 50. Are you ready to start living? What are you waiting for? Let's get started. Welcome to another episode of the Women Living Well After 50 podcast. I'm Sue Carrick, and I'm delighted to have you join me. Menopause. It's complicated, confusing, overwhelming, and outright terrifying. And it's inevitable. By 2025, 1 billion women will be in some stage of menopause. That's 1 in 8 people on this planet. My guests today are Jan Scott and Diana Phillips from Windrose Retreats. Their Modern Menopause is debunking myths and stigma by empowering women with fact-based knowledge and to take charge of their own life and to take charge of the change. Windrose Retreats, Modern Menopause, Evolution and Revolution is a yoga-centric, women-owned company. They believe in women taking charge of change and unapologetically squeezing the life out of each day. The retreats have curated speakers and workshops and led by world-renowned women sharing expertise, enlightenment and common sense in an unprecedented collection of retreats. Windrose Retreats believe we can change the world with a little help from our sisters. So let's go and join the conversation and learn more about Windrose Retreats and Modern Menopause. Welcome, Jan Scott and Diana Phillips. I'm so excited to have you both join me today for the podcast.
We're thrilled to be here. Thanks for having us, Sue.
Indeed, indeed, indeed.
Well, I was just saying to these lovely ladies before we started that I saw a photo of them together, and I just thought of the words fun, energetic, and not what some women who are going through menopause or who've been through menopause usually identify with. And I think, Jan, you said you were, would probably add a little bit of craziness or kookiness.
I think so. Well, who at our age is hula hooping through life? You know, Diana and I love hula hooping, so that's one of our photo shoots. That's what we did, and we decided to use that photo as our main
as our signature.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's fabulous. I mean, I love a hula hoop too. And I remember growing up with those. But, that's all about our, the way we age is the way we sort of approach it. And I think that photo of you two with the hula hoop and that, you want to have fun. You don't want to be sitting in the sidelines and, just going through the rest of your life. You want to be out there. And what I love about you both is you want to be out there helping other women. So we talk about modern menopause, but I think before we start, let's have a little bit of background. If you could just tell my listeners, both of you, we'll start with Jan, just a little bit about your background and how you came to Windrose Retreats and the Modern Menopause that you offer.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if your listeners know, but this is Diana and I've known each other since high school. We grew up in a very small town in the middle of the country of the United States, Joplin, Missouri. And we both quickly left as soon as we could after high school. And we both got into the crazy world of advertising. Diana is a brilliant creative director. I'm a producer, and we did commercials and infomercials and print campaigns. And we've done it all. We've traveled all over the world. Diana's actually lived a lot of different places. I've basically traveled the world, but based in Los Angeles. And we've stayed friends. We stayed in touch. And every time we got together, we would do a yoga class. And we finally both loved it so much, we became certified yoga instructors. And that's what kind of led us to doing our yoga retreats. So we've been doing yoga retreats for about 10 years across the country, just the two of us gathering great women and meeting and doing yoga for a week with hiking or some biking. Sometimes we'd have a special guest. We had a beautiful interior designer that we did a lot of retreats with. So we've just stayed in touch and we've just been friends forever. We met actually on our junior senior prom committee. So that's how we bonded over picking out bands and what the theme of the junior senior prom would be.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the crazy thing, Sue. So Jan and I both, we leave our beautiful little bucolic, small town and immediately go to the big city to absolute craziness and chaos. Mm-hmm. And we love it. We thrive. We're doing this, we're doing that. But we also realize, how ungrounded we rapidly became. And so yoga, both collectively and independently, became kind of like a balm and a way to, kind of keep your head on straight in the midst of all of the deadlines, the pressure, the nuttiness, the politics, and just the sheer chaos. Yep. So yoga was always this respite for us, a way to kind of like keep ourselves ourselves. And boy, oh boy, did that not also come in handy when you hit menopause. And all of a sudden you wonder, well, what happened to the Diana I used to know? Where the hell did she go? Mm-hmm. And so it's either like this person you don't recognize, or on the other hand, you've got society telling you to just sit down and be quiet. You're old, you're of no use,
into the background.
Just sit down and be invisible. And we do not do that.
Mm-mm. No,
we were not having that. Nope.
No. So that kind of led us to modern menopause, because when I went through menopause, it was every bad meme you've ever seen on the internet. I mean, it was just hell. Jan didn't have quite such a dire experience. And so it just made us realize that the menopause journey is as unique as every woman who goes through it.
We're all snowflakes. We're all different. We're all
different.
We handle stress differently. We all handle stress differently. We handle our nutrition differently. We handle how we approach things differently in terms of our health, whether we're very Western focused, we're Eastern focused. If you're like us, we're sort of a combination of both, which is what we try to bring into our retreats, kind of that holistic modalities, Eastern, Western, we're open to anything that can help a menopausal woman.
Right. But we are founded in yoga. And the reason that we're founded in yoga is because of all of the principles that we've always been drawn toward. The breath, the pranayama, the way to kind of like just be in the moment and get hold of any kind of like outside influence and just tell it to calm down. I'll be with you in a second. Right now, I'm taking care of Diana. So the pranayama, the physical aspects of it, the spiritual aspects, the discipline, the meditation, all of those little aspects of yoga are really, really beneficial when you're dealing with any kind of stress, any kind of upset, any kind of like, what the hell is happening? And so the retreats are based in yoga, but yet, to Jan's point, we're very, very cognizant of Western science and the benefits of some of the breakthroughs of Western medicine. I said that because we know there are so many questions and there's so much misinformation that our kind of philosophy is, let's get the smartest people we know that are experts in this field of menopause. Let's ask them. They're going to tell us what they know, and then we'll pass that along to our collection of friends and our community of menopausal women.
And then that's when it started. Yep.
With Eastern philosophy, which is Reiki, which is Ayurveda,
ECM,
craniosacral, traditional Chinese medicine, acupuncture, aromatherapy, all of these other modalities that when we work together, we think that we can find the right cocktail I say cocktail,
Mm.
the right recipe for anyone who's going through a particular stage of menopause.
Mm.
And when we did this, oh, so sorry to interrupt you,
No,
but
you go.
when we sort of made our shift from just yoga to doing more modern menopause retreats, Diana and I were, and when Diana went through her menopause, she was sourcing as much as she could, trying to find out and gather as much information. So she had a head start on me as knowing, okay, this person is great who knows about HRT. This person is an aromatherapist. This person is an Ayurvedic expert. So she had a lot of tools already in her toolbox. And we thought, well, listen, what if we could bring these people for a week and incorporate yoga and these people who are experts, these science-based, fact-based, experts for a week, and share and expand our yoga into a menopause yoga retreat or a menopause retreat with a, yoga-centric history, or what am I trying to say? Base, a yoga base.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's kind of how it all transpired and transformed.
Yeah. And look, I having been there myself, I was fortunate that in one way that I didn't really experience too many of the symptoms, but I also didn't know very much about it, because when I was going through menopause or perimenopause, no one talked about it. And it was one of those taboo subjects that I know in our mother's generation, grandmother's generation, you didn't even know, they just did the stiff upper lip and just kept going through. And so when it's happening to you, well, for me, I just found that I didn't really understand. And I look back now and I think, oh my God, you were so naive. You didn't understand anything. And then when I do look back now with what I've learned since, I think, oh, okay, that's why that happened, or that's why I was like that, but it was, at the time, I had no idea. You'd go to the doctor and they'd just say, oh, you're okay, that's just part of life, or they didn't want to listen. And I think that what is happening is that, like, women like yourselves have brought it to the forefront, and I'm happy to say that it, menopause just seems to be everywhere at the moment, in the media, which is great, because the more we understand, the more we can cope with things. And I love the fact that you're not saying, well, we've got all the answers. We've actually gone and found experts who can help provide answers. And I love the cocktail idea, Diana, because everyone's different, aren't they?
Everyone is different.
And they need that special cocktail. So,
and I think that this is why we are so, one of our passions about it is to reach women who are just going into perimenopause, because like you said, Sue, no one told us. It wasn't even, we were barely whispering about menopause when we went through it. And I want my nieces, I want them to be proactive and learn about it. And this is happening starting when you're in your 30s. You might be heading in your mid 30s, heading in towards perimenopause. Look out for this, do this, think about this, research this. So you're not just, going through it or midway through it, and you turn around and you don't even know who to ask or where to go.
I'm going to say, ladies, this is like the tail of the dog, and then we've got the rest of the dog, and we've got the head of the dog. And so what this really is it's just another example of women's health issues not being addressed across the board. Because if we were a healthy society, our young ladies going into their first menstruation, they would have answers. They would know that it's very, very wise to clock your cycle for a month, for your entire life. And if you were that in tune with yourself, then you would have an idea of, when you come into perimenopause, something is not right. Something is different. I'm feeling different. But we're so, I think, conditioned, like you said, Sue, we just suffer through, we just keep going, and so the idea now that we're beginning to collect a little bit of information about what menopause is, what the symptoms are, when they can happen, how that ties into, and basically how my menopause was affected by my puberty. It's all connected. So just that little bit of education, and getting the word even into a mixed conversation is like huge.
Yeah, and especially because over here, the UK is very far ahead of us, even Australia ahead of us. I mean, we are
Canada too.
And we just recently, Oprah starts having a panel discussion, but we had gone to Naomi Watts. She started a company called I Am Stripes, which deals with a lot of skincare and body. She does vitamins too, right, Dee? Does she
does supplements? Yeah, for midlife,
for midlife, for menopausal women, postmenopausal, premenopausal, all of that. And she invited us. We were lucky enough to be guests at her new Pause Summit, which was also by the Swell. The two of them did it, and it had just amazing speakers all day long that you could listen to. And it started, and that room was full. It was just full of all of us in Los Angeles, anxious to hear. And it just was percolating. The vibe was just very excitement of listening and knowing. And, I turned to Diane at one point and I said, I'm pissed because I never knew any of this. All these things that I could have been doing for my brain health, my heart health, my body health, I didn't know. And now I'm on the other side, I can't go back. I can't catch up. So that motivated us as well, because, we want to menopause out loud. That's our tagline. We want to menopause out loud. We want everyone to join us and menopause out loud.
Yeah. Well, see, and here's the thing too, that I think that, it's great that Naomi is talking about this, that Oprah, that Maria Shriver, that Heather Hirsch, all of her experts, all of her girlfriends, Drew Barrymore, everybody's talking about this. But you know what? Oprah was talking about menopause in the early 2000s. And, it's not like it hasn't been discussed before.
Everybody did this.
But, what has really changed in 20 years? So that's part of why we're menopausing out loud, is to kind of like take up the banner and say, ladies, we got to take care of ourselves. Nobody is going to do this for us. We have to take charge and take care of ourselves.
But the other thing I've noticed too is, you've just mentioned a few celebrity names there, and it just seems to me that now all celebrity women are coming out and talking about it. And I'm thinking, well, there have been women trying to talk about this, for the last 10 years. And it just, that annoys me a little bit, because it just seems to be that, unless you are a celebrity, your word or your information just isn't getting through. And I would rather hear from someone who's been through it just as a normal woman as well, because, Diana, you were saying before, we're all different. And I just think that, whilst it's good with the celebrities talking about it, you can get the spotlight on it a bit more. But there have been women talking about it before. And I think that women like yourselves, as you said, Jan, I was annoyed that now I thought, gosh, I wish I'd known this before. But on the flip side, I have a daughter who's 42. So she will have she has all the information toward, for that. Although I do think that a lot of them still sort of push it away and go, oh, I don't really need to know about that yet. But as you say, in your 30s, you should really be becoming aware. And absolutely. Diana, your point about going right back to puberty, would never have known about watching my cycle, and there just wasn't the information there. And I look back now and I think, how did I get to almost 66 and survive?
Right. That's right. That's right. Because you are a very intelligent, creative, curious woman. That's how you made it. Yep. And that's all lovely. And I salute you. And I believe that most women are problem solving, amazing problem solvers.
And we're warriors. We're the child bearers. We're the ones that do it all. We multitask. We, you work, what is that song? Fry it up in a pan, where you work all day and then come home and make dinner and do your kids and do everything else. We're just conditioned, trained, or maybe it's just in our DNA to do it all. So we just keep doing it. But that's the other thing about menopause that we like to stress in our retreats. This is about you. This is about now turning everything back into self-care. What do you need? What is your passion? What have you been hiding under? What have you been suppressing that you really want to do now? This is your second spring, as they say in Chinese medicine. This is the time when you get to the kids are grown. Maybe you're stepping a little bit back from your career. And now is the time for you to step into who you really think you want to be or what to do.
The only problem with that, sorry, Diane, I just want to say this, that the only problem with that, Jan, is that by the time we do get to that point, we don't know who we are anymore.
Well, that's true.
We've been giving ourselves to family, perhaps career, combining the two, trying to do it all, because we went through that period there where if you weren't superwoman, well, you just had no value. And then we finally realized that you can't be everything to everyone. But, by the time I hear women say, and I was the same, you give yourself to a career, you may have children as well to throw into that mix. And so you're putting all these different labels on yourself. And the true Sue, for example, who is she now? Once, you lose yourself. And then menopause hits and you think, oh God, I don't even know who this person is. I've got a friend going through it at the moment and she wears a label at work sometimes saying, don't talk to me, because she's going through menopause. And
that's brilliant. I love her.
Moods. Yeah. She's exactly like you girls. You would love her as well. And, I think that's the only thing. We get to that point and we're hit with the menopause right at the time when, a lot of responsibilities are, being taken off our shoulders. So we're trying to cope with that and then finding out who we are. And that's what I love about your retreats, that, you have a whole week, is it, where you just focus on you. And I think the pressure gets taken off because you're with like-minded women and you're there where someone is just nurturing you. You can nurture yourself.
Yeah. See, that's part of the intangible of a retreat. It's that immersion. And that, we are so darn curious about what women need. We designed these retreats. Hey, if we were going to go to a retreat, and we wanted to learn about menopause, what would we want to have? We'd want to have this, 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 and this.
And if I wanted to be curious about me, I'd want to try this, explore that.
Right. So that's what we've done. And again, we're trying to give women options. We're giving them information. We're giving them education. We're giving them the fundamentals. But, it's also like, menopause is more than a hot flash. There are so many things that you have to deal with. Self-confidence not being the least of which you've got to rejigger and find that whole, beautiful island again and go embrace that, as well as just keeping a sense of humor about this, because menopause is a bitch. It is a freaking bitch. And, you're going through all these emotional roller coaster highs and lows, and you're still trying to, maintain a career, because let's face it, in your 40s, you're at the pinnacle of your career. You can't just chuck it off and say, hey, I don't feel like working today. You've got kids that are on their way to college. You've got a husband who's thinking about what he's going to be doing when he, retires. So there's a lot going on that you've got to kind of like be able to put in perspective and keep it in a good, manageable, flow, as well as carve out some time for yourself. So these retreats are fun, they're informative, they're educational, they're scientific, but really they're designed for every listener out there.
Yeah, because we want you to step
about what you've got to deal with.
We want you to step into your wisdom of this age.
Yeah.
We just don't give our society, I'm speaking about the United States and specifically, we don't honor our older people as much as I wish we did. She's too old for this. You sit down here, like Diana was saying, just step into the shadows. we want you to step into your power at this age. I mean, when you're menopausal, I mean, it's a lot to juggle, but you're doing it. You've got no choice. It's inevitable. But we want you to step in and be powerful with it. We want to give you tools, and we want to give you everything that you need to feel, you know, like this second spring is the best thing that ever happened to you.
Right. And the thing is, you know, I mean, there's so much information that you can share with other ladies like us. You know, that community is so robust and so rich and so nurturing. We want, let's say, you know, I mean, we grew up in a small town. We know what it's like to live in a rural area. What if you don't have a community right there? You know, let's develop online communities. Let's develop ways of, you know, other kinds of outreach. So you're not alone going through this. You know, there's just so much to do. There's so much to do.
I know. What I was thinking when you were talking about that too is that there is so much and so much information that it just gets a little bit overwhelming as well. And, you know, if you're in your 40s, for example, or your 50s and you're working full time, you don't tend to have the time to really find out the information. And I think that by having something like, for example, the retreat, which I just love that idea, is that you're sort of drawing a line in the sand between this is my current world and now I'm stepping into just my world for a week where I can just focus on that and absorb and ask questions and learn without the pressures of everyday life being there.
Yeah.
And the whole thing is to give every single person something to take home, to take back with them that they can use every day that will make their life better. That's the whole point.
I always say this when we talk about these retreats. I want every woman going home on the plane, having come from a week with us, to be levitating, that they have so much. They're just so full of so many things they want to share and do and be and
they're the party row on the plane.
They are. They're the party row
from our retreat. Yes.
Yeah. And, you know, having that support, like you go there for the week and you know, a lot of women probably are a bit nervous about going. They don't know really what to expect. But there's that support base there with all the information, as well as your yoga. And, you know, you have people who talk about natural remedies and Chinese medicine to perhaps help, because that's the other thing. I think we all get caught up in what, you know, what can we do to relieve the symptoms? And sometimes that's, you know, you get mixed messages as well. Like, for example, I didn't have any HRT. I didn't do anything. I just went through, you know, menopause, and I didn't take any medication. But that was because I was thinking, you know, my mum had breast cancer. There's a history of that in there, so I can't do HRT. And that's what the doctor was telling me. But I think that's actually changed now. So there's a lot of mixed messages that come through, which add to that overwhelm that I was talking about before.
Completely. There is a lot of misinformation out there, and it changes almost, you know, it fine tunes itself. I'll say that, you know, because when we went to this new Pause Summit, gosh, Diane, I can't remember the beautiful man and the woman who were talking, Carol and the guy that you love.
Right.
Remember, but they did this PowerPoint presentation and the breast cancer theory that we both got, you and I both got from our gynecologist, Sue, same thing. Because I have a history of breast cancer in my family, and it's like, oh, you can't do that. What was it, Diana? It's like 0.01 in 1,000. It's in 1,000 women. I think the chances of getting breast cancer from HRT is 0.01 higher. However, if you are taking estrogen through HRT and you do develop breast cancer, you have a 40% better chance of surviving by taking the HRT. So
whereas when I was going through it all, that was a fear factor. Oh, I can't do that because, you know, of what might happen.
Well, that study that you're referring to, Sue, was done in 2002, and the experts at the New Summit were actually debunking the initial, reading of the report. There have been so many aspects of that report that have since been debunked. Breast cancer is one. The benefits of estrogen is another. I mean, estrogen is our skin, our brain, our
everything.
It's everything. It's our female organs. It's everything to do with being a vibrant, healthy person. And so when that estrogen is depleting, of course, we're going to feel differently. But, just like we were saying, maybe HRT isn't for you. And that is something that you have to decide and find out for yourself, which of course you will, and you should. But, there are other things that you can do. I think in Western society, we're kind of trained to take a pill. I mean, on Facebook every day, I see some ad about reducing, belly fat from menopause. It's like, okay, well, the only way to reduce belly fat is to eat less and exercise. And it's not going to be some magic, waving of the fingers. Otherwise, I would have done it to myself a long time ago.
Right.
So it's just that kind of like common sense. But, you do need someone that is studying this all the time to be able to give you the most accurate interpretation.
Because they've done all the research. It comes in, somebody has to be on top of it. You can't do it. You have to find an expert that you really.
We're not doctors. Jan and I are not doctors.
And we know way more about menopause. We know as much about menopause as we don't know about menopause.
That's right.
We just keep getting all this information, and then there's more information that you can't possibly absorb it all. It's just too much. But to Diana's point, eating right, nutrition, we have a couple of amazing nutritionists who don't believe in diets. It's like, no, it's not going to be a diet. I'm going to teach you how to eat. And you can have,
how to eat and be healthy.
Yeah. Jen Sleeve Hoover, our one of our great favorite pictures of her, she's just looking through a big donut that she just took a bite out of because she loves her waffle iron. She loves her donuts. I mean, you can eat. It doesn't have to be a starvation thing when you're in menopause to get rid of your belly fat. Anyway.
No, but that comes to another point about the stories we tell ourselves and the limiting beliefs. Like when you talk about diet, I actually don't believe in the word. And I totally agree with that philosophy that for me, you shouldn't be starving yourself. Yet when I was growing up and in high school, I was on every damn diet that was going around, 2 apples for breakfast, 2 for lunch, and then, a small meal. And when I look back at photos of myself, I think, oh, you weren't even,
pudgy. You weren't even pudgy.
No, you looked okay. But at that time, oh, no, I don't look like those women. And of course, we've got now the big controversy about Martha Stewart being on Sports Illustrated. And I don't particularly wanted to get into all that, but I think what I do want to say is, why don't we just build each other up instead of always trying to be negative about for me, it's all about living life my way and what's right for me.
Right.
And if someone wants to go and do that, that's great. If, it may not be me, but I'm not going to pull her down for that. And I think that that's what disappoints me sometimes, is that we're too quick to judge others instead of just being concerned with being the best person that we can be. But again, that comes back to probably a lack of self-confidence and the limiting beliefs that we have placed on ourselves through the stories we've learned throughout our life.
Right. So let's have some news stories. Let's make some news stories. Yep. That's what Jan and I want to do. I mean, we are basically the first people to take menopause on retreat. And the whole idea of it is to collect these stories and tell these stories to other women. That's how we're going to start changing the narrative in our government, in our corporations, in our schools, in our society in general. Yep. We just have to start the conversation.
And to your point too, Sue, we want to build communities. On our yoga retreats, people, when they fill out those little, what did you like the most? What was the best for you? And a lot of our clients, our guests would say, sitting in community dinner, eating together, talking together, going through the day. We always have a WhatsApp group afterwards, and, just having that connection that I can reach out and we're on WhatsApps that we've had 10 years ago that people still every once in a while hit us up and say, hey, what's this? Do you know this? Are you going anywhere? So there's that, you feel like you've met these women and you have some kind of bond with them and some kind of sister or deep connection that you can go back to them for as long as you need and as long as you want. And to your point about building women up, that is another one of our Menopause Out Loud goals, is to just keep building each other up. Why would I say to you, I don't like this about you, or I don't like, I don't want you to grow. I don't want you to get your hair gray, Diana. I don't want you to let it go natural. Why would I say that? Why wouldn't I say? Because I do believe it looks fantastic.
Well, I love that Margaret Thatcher quote that is, there's a special place in hell for women who do not support other women. Mm-hmm. And so that is also something we take very, very seriously. And we are here to, Jen and I, we're kooks, and we are here to squeeze, every last drop out of life that we can get. And we want you to do the same. We want your life, and you're not gonna squeeze your life the way I'm gonna squeeze mine. And that's cool. But by God, we're gonna give you the tools to squeeze it however you want.
Yep. And have fun along the way and have a lot of laughs.
Yeah. And I think that's the other thing. We do lose the ability to have fun and to laugh because we get so caught up with things. And I just love the enthusiasm that's coming from you both. And I'm thinking, well, I don't live too far from Bali. So next time you have one over there, I would come, even though I'm past menopause, I can maybe give some of my wisdom.
You would be so welcome, Sue. You and your wisdom would be so welcome.
But that's the thing you were saying before about educating family, educating your partner, of course, educating the workplace. And we are so behind here in Australia. I think the UK now have menopause leave days and things like that. So at least they are acknowledging that. Yeah. Whereas here, we're just starting to put a toe in the water. And I had a guest on last year, and she actually works with businesses to develop menopause policy.
I love her.
Yeah.
I love her.
Good for her.
Yes. Yeah. And but the resistance is there because I've got this friend and she works in a firm in the city, and it's usually run by men. There's still a lot of men at the top rather than, women are getting there, but it's still not there. And this is an older firm. And so they have different ideas. Oh, my wife was at home, she didn't go to work, or things like that. So they do not understand. And I think that, we've really got to start getting the message out, not just to women who are going through it, but to society as a whole. And, it's not a bad word. Let's just say it, menopause. Why do people cringe when they, or anything to do with women? You'd say you'd have your period or something and it'd be la, 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 la. They didn't want to hear about it, and that's just a normal part of life. So I think it's great that women can get together, support each other, and from there perhaps start educating
each other.
Each other. Yeah.
Each other.
And the world, and and every part of the world. Yeah. Agreed. Yes. Well said. Well said.
Yeah. And the other thing is too, I suppose you have to learn to be open and to feel confident to talk to people about it, like even to your partner, because I suppose sometimes, defending them, they don't get it. But if you don't explain how you're feeling or what's happening with you, I suppose, they're not going to know. They won't understand. So opening up that communication, especially with those that you are very close to.
I mean, this is when you're at some of your most vulnerable moments, right? And so to create a space of safety and security, that's actually part of our introduction. When gals come and we collect together, it's like, okay, here we are here together. We are safe. We are secure. We have, I don't like to say rules, but we have ways of interacting with each other out of respect. And that is crucial to being able to communicate some of those things that are very, very difficult to say, some things you don't want to admit to yourself. That's where the breakthrough comes. That's where, lives are changed. And that's the goal. That is really,
that's the stepping into.
Yeah,
that's the stepping into. And back to your point, Sue, about talking to your partner. Listen, everyone's sexual libido goes up and down when you're in menopause. And if you're not communicating to your partner, it's not you, it's me. How are they feeling? They're feeling like, okay, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Why aren't we having that intimacy we've had for X amount of time? So it's not fair to them either, or your kids. If you're, having one of those rageful moments, if they don't understand why you're so angry because, there's no more milk, then they're not going to understand. They're not going to get it unless you.
No, that's right. And it would make life so much easier, if you had those that, around you. But, actually, your sexual relationship is something else that people don't necessarily want to be addressing. And I remember, my husband and I had to talk about things because I didn't want to see that end, but it wasn't working anymore for, because of things I was going through. And so we worked a way around it. But if I hadn't communicated that, it would have been, okay, well, we'll just go in separate rooms now and that's the end of it, and we don't have to give up a loving sexual relationship
No, we don't have to give up. I mean, a lot of the myths that we're being fed are just that, and we as women going forward in age have so many things to celebrate, so many opportunities yet ahead of us. And it just drives me absolutely nuts to think that we're being told, no, you can't. It literally, I could, All right, Jen, you better take over for a moment.
Well, I just remember, I love this story that I tell I've said this a million times, but I went to my gynecologist to, say, hey, I'm not this and that. And I didn't have the symptoms Diana did, but my sex drive was down. I was low energy. And I said, well, I think we should maybe do some blood work and see where my hormones are. And she goes, I can tell you where they are. They're low because you're old. That's it. That was her, brilliant observation of where my, so I say to women out there, if you don't have a doctor that you like and trust and that listens to you, find someone else. There are so many good now new up and coming doctors that really know about menopause that have been studying it. In the States, we have NAMS, the National Association of Menopause Society. You can go on and find a practitioner who is not trained, but they've had way more education in menopause and perimenopause than some doctors that haven't. And maybe that's the person that you need to see,
We recently, well, actually, I had a newspaper, a journalist phone me to get my thoughts on the fact that, women just feel really let down with the medical fraternity because they're going to their GP, whom they might have gone to for years, and especially if they're a male GP, they don't really want to know about it. So it is, I think, important. You ladies can provide all the information, and you've got the the information's out there, but I think it's also beholden on us as individuals to educate ourselves, to be open, to find out. And if you're not happy with, like you were, Jan, oh, you're just old. Well, are you meant to accept that and then just suffer in silence? No, it's up to you to stand up and say,
proactive.
That's right. And I've had to be that way. It took me till my 60s, and this isn't for health reasons, but two examples. I wanted to become a personal trainer, and I applied at 57, and they said, you're too old. Oh, don't you think you're a bit old? So 57-year-old accepted that. Oh, yeah, okay, I'm too old. 63, I thought I am not too old. So I went and did my personal training, my group fitness certification. And now I take classes for women over 50, you know, online. If I'd accepted that, which I did, first of all, I'm embarrassed to say, it took me till my 60s to really say, no, I can do this. And I have done it. And, I still
love that.
I'm still running. I started a podcast, and people said, well, why do you want to do that? Who's going to listen to you? Well,
we did.
Yeah. We did. Yeah, I've done way over 100 of them now, and it didn't matter. It was something I wanted to do, and it was something that I had to believe in myself, have the courage to press that button. And okay, if nobody listened, at least I tried. So I think that in all areas of our life, as we reach menopause and beyond, we have to stand up and do what's right for us and not worry what other people are thinking. And I know that's easier said than done.
Of course it is, but you've got to have that vulnerable courage. I like to say that you've got to be vulnerable enough to fail. You've got to be vulnerable enough to put yourself out there and say, I'm not too old. Wait a minute, I'm not too old. And have the courage and be proactive and do it. Bravo.
Yeah, bravo, Sue. That's fabulous. Yeah. I salute you, girl.
Oh, thank you. Well, I was pretty chuffed with myself when I did it, I must admit, and, I still run my marathons, and I know running isn't for everyone, but I still do that. And I'm coming up to 66, and I sort of think, you know what, I'm happy with what I'm doing, and maybe, just maybe, someone might feel inspired to do something with what I'm doing, because I do believe we're all role models. And I look at my grandchildren, my grandsons look at me and they say, come and do this, come and do that, because they don't look at me as an age. They think, oh, well, if we can do this, Nan can do that as well. Get on the trampoline, or come and play soccer, or this. Yeah. And so it's all in your attitude. And I think, and the way you look at things, and it comes back to, if you're going through menopause or perimenopause, educate yourself and do what's right for you.
Right.
Now, before we go, there's a couple of things. I mean, I could talk to you. let's book in a week. I could just keep talking. But I wondered, like retreats, not everybody. I mean, it would be wonderful for everyone to say, yes, I'm doing this for myself, and I'm going to go to that retreat, because I really do think, and after reading what you ladies offer, there's just so much you would get out of going to that, to a retreat. But do you have anything online for those that can't get there, or have you thought about doing? I know it's not quite the same as being physically there and away from everything for the time being, but do you actually work with women online as well?
We haven't yet, but we do have some things coming up in 2024. We are in talks with I Am Stripes, Naomi Watts' company, to do little mini retreats, like 3-4 day retreats all over the United States. So we realized that going to Bali is kind of a bucket list item, and not every woman, has the funds or the time or the wherewithal to go to Bali. We realized that. So we're looking at ways to get more local. Jan and I are also developing a menopause yoga program that we hope to take online, as well as, trying to get menopause yoga to be as common as a vinyasa or an Ashtanga practice. And just, because there's so many women now, there's so many people doing yoga, that yoga that's another form of education. It is not just for hot young bodies that want to twist themselves into a pretzel or stand on their head. That's lovely. And that's one faction of what yoga can be. But again, we're looking at the holistic program of yoga. And we do hope to develop, an online curriculum for menopause yoga specifically.
Because I do enjoy a yoga practice. No, I don't stand on my head and I can't get myself into a pretzel, but, I do enjoy that feeling. And at the end, you just have that sense of calm, but you've got that strength in your body as well.
Yes.
And it's just a lovely combination. And it certainly helps me with after a run or something like that. The yoga practice really helps. So
it's yoga, and then some of the Ayurvedic principles as well, the Chinese medicine principles that are easily taught, and they're very specific to a person, so you can kind of interpret for yourself. And then again, it's just, hey, I think I'm going to try this and see if it makes sense for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, to me, if I had to, well, I can't describe you ladies in just one word, but one word that I've written down that just keep coming back to me is trailblazers. You are leading the way, and you are encouraging and inspiring. Like, I've loved talking to you today, because now it's the morning where I am, and I'm just ready to take on the world now. And and that's what I think. If women can't get to your retreats, if they can get to both of you somehow, because I know that you would certainly make a difference to their lives. And I'm so pleased to hear that, you are going to be maybe getting into that online area as well, because it's a good way to try and reach a lot of women. And, in your spare time, you could probably start a podcast if you haven't already got one going. So, I can provide plenty of things to keep you busy.
To fill our days. Well, we would love to hear from anyone listening. So we'd love to get you on our 2024 mailing list. If you go to our website, we've created this beautiful, Diana did a great job with the graphics. It's a PDF of menopause symptoms, or there's also going to be a pop-up about our 2024 retreats that you could sign up for and give us your email, and then we'll send you whatever you'd like at whenever time you want.
Or just shoot us an email and let us know what you're going through. Diana at windroseworld.com or Jan at windroseworld.com. Let us know your symptoms, what you'd like to do on a retreat, where you'd like to go, what is driving you crazy. I mean, we have one little women's circle thing that we like to do, and it's basically, I hate my blank. And in the circle, you can talk about whatever that is. If it's your husband, if it's your dog, if it's your boss, if it's your teenage daughter, you can just let it rip, and we are all right there.
Yep. There's a lot of nodding.
Yeah. No, that's great. And I've had a look at that PDF. I thought it, and again, like you girls, it's colorful and it's full of information, and it's really great. And so I will be putting all contact details and where people can contact you and sign up in the show notes, and then I write a blog post and it's in there as well.
Awesome.
So we get it out to everybody. So look, we've been talking for quite a while. It only seems like 5 minutes, but we've been talking for a while. So I am going to have to come to the end, unfortunately, but I do have one question for both of you that I ask all of my guests. So I don't mind who goes first, but the question is, what does being a woman living well mean to you?
Do you want to go, Dee, or are you thinking?
I would say it's just unfettered. I
love it.
Of course, we all have boundaries that we have to maintain, but you know what? I just don't apologize. I live life without apologizing, and or I try to. I think that's it. I'm at this point in my life, I am just going full tilt because there's not much time left, and I'm not going to waste a damn second.
Love it. What about you, Jan?
I would say I'm curiously and courageously thriving.
Love it.
I'm always curious, and I've gotten more courageous as I've gotten older, because you just don't care as much. Like Diana says, I don't care what people think. If I want to go and do something, like you said, Sue, I don't feel too old. And I feel like when I walk into the room, I'm not the oldest person. I'm just the wisest. I'm just the one who brings the most experience to a situation, just because I am older. I'm older.
I just bring the most Diana.
But, I mean, wouldn't it be great if, well, for me, I'm at a point in my life where, yes, I am happy with who I am as a person. Now, all my life, I was never happy. I was, always trying to please people. I was always trying, I didn't think I was good enough. And it was always that, God, it's so tiring trying to, be things that you aren't, or trying to, get that confidence in yourself. But I think it was when I turned 60 that I just changed. I still learn. I still have to learn things. Sometimes my boundaries are a little bit, hazy, and I find it difficult to say no. But I do think we get that confidence. But sometimes I wish I'd have had it back when I was 40. So perhaps with our conversations like this, with your retreats, not only are you talking about the symptoms, but you're talking about the whole mind-body connection,
yes,
the mental, the physical, the spiritual, and that's the other thing, that's all encompassing to make out who we are, isn't it?
Yep, it certainly is. It is.
It is. Yes.
Well, look, thank you so much for joining me today. I have really enjoyed our conversation, and I would love to have you on as guests again, because I think you've got so much to offer. And
thank you.
It's just been great. I just get all excited when I meet women who are as passionate about doing things and not just being passionate about it, but you're actually doing things. And I just find that very inspiring, and it's wonderful what you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's been such a delight. Thank you.
We love your listeners. Thank you so much for staying with us for
yes,
thank
you.
We've been going for nearly an hour. But that's great, and it's just, that's what I love. It's been so easy to chat, but lots of great information, and all of that I will be sharing with the listeners and my readers. So hopefully they will be, getting in touch with you, and good luck with all your plans for the future.
Thank you. And thank you. And we'll be in touch with you, my dear.
Good luck on the marathon.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Yeah, I've got one in a couple of weeks, so I'm working.
All right, we'll be cheering. We'll be cheering.
Thank you. All righty. Bye, girls.
Thank you, Sue.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Lovely to meet you. Well, what inspiring and exciting women Jan Scott and Diana Phillips are. I hope that you enjoyed listening to the interview as much as I did spending time with them. They certainly are trying to help women perimenopause and menopause, and I know that their retreats would be just so beneficial to us all. Well, that's all we have time for this week. So until next time, remember to live well, enjoy life, and most of all, be a woman living life your way. Bye for now.